Right.
How's your day been so far?
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, I'm just finishing up a 12-hour
Oh
workday
my
in
gosh.
just a typical like clinic setting.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so it's a long day, and then I try to get a quick gym workout in and run after, and then get home just in time to tuck my kids into bed. So
Oh my gosh.
not like that every day, but it
Yeah.
is, yeah, it's always crazy.
Yeah. Do
Pretty
you do like kind of like a flex schedule where you're like 12 one day and then like 6 another or whatever?
Yeah, so childcare comes into play. So I do like a 6 on a Monday, two 12s, Thursday off, and then a 10.
Yeah.
So
That is the life of a
40-hour work
working
week.
mom.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, like where you live, what your family's like,
Sure.
what you like to do?
Yeah. I am in Michigan, and we're on like the Metro Detroit, in between Detroit and Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Um, area. I originally started working closer to Detroit for our company. I always had the goals of becoming that go-to running physical
Okay.
therapist just for other things that happened in my life. I'm sure we'll get into that
Yeah.
in a little bit. But then moved out to area that has like more trails and just like
Nice.
active area, and that's where it really kind of like took off for me for like some of my goals. So yeah, so in that area of Michigan, and then mom of two boys, preschooler and a first grader.
Nice.
Um, what I like to do for fun is run and just anything outdoors, really. There's a lot of lakes in Michigan, so we're always saying we're going up north, and just
Yeah.
any fresh lake activities.
That's
So yeah, I just enjoy
fun.
all of that. And cooking. I like to cook and
Nice.
eat.
Oh my gosh. Same. I'm actually from the suburbs of Chicago. So
Okay.
I'm a Midwest gal too. And my parents raised my brother like partially in Michigan.
Hmm.
So we would go, I don't know, Michigan, Minnesota, all those areas. It's so beautiful. There's so many trails, there's so many
Yeah.
lakes.
Yeah.
I feel like people in maybe the Northwest where I am now don't give it the credit that it deserves.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what I think. Very nice for running and whatnot. And then how or what are you doing for PT work and then running work now? Like what does that kind of look like for you?
Yeah. So I work in still just a typical orthopedic setting, so I'll see a little bit of everything, and I still kind of like it that way. Still working with
Yeah.
like a neuro patient or a
Nice.
elderly geriatric patient. Just variety is fun, but I do like a majority of runners to treat. They're hard to treat though. So
I know.
sometimes it's nice just having like a balanced patient every now and then. Just
Yeah.
runners are stuck in their ways. They're stubborn, and I question like, why did I choose to treat runners a lot of days?
I know.
Because it's definitely a challenge, but it makes you use your brain a lot more, and they're very vulnerable when they're injured, and it's like a psychological treatment at times. So when you are able to help them, it's life changing for somebody. So that is enjoyable for me, and a lot of the runners that I treat in this area are part of my running group.
Oh, cool.
Like at like a local shoe store. So we got friends coming in, neighbors that run in our area, so it's nice to be able to help them out and be like, okay, now come do a long run with me tomorrow. Since you're better, you can be my
Yeah.
runner and push me
That's so
a
fun.
little bit more. Yeah, so it's nice to just have a lot of like just personal relationships in that area, and then word of mouth spreads,
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool to be able to be that person that helps. Through my education in the running specific areas, so like a running gait analysis
Yeah. Yeah.
certification, and through there's like different levels of gait analysis. I got certified in the Run DNA
Yeah.
system, if you've heard of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that helps just make it like there's a million things you could look at in a runner, but it helps to really streamline their
Yeah.
assessment and look at the whole body. Like you could have a runner that's got a shoulder issue that's throwing off their hip mechanics. So just everything's connected. So it's nice to just look at the big picture with that. And then through that system, I got certified as the certified running coach. I've been coaching for years, just in different areas. I ran in college, and then during physical therapy school, assistant coached for the college team that I was on. So we travel the country, just to different states, doing races. Then I went on to coaching high school for about 5 or 6 years. Then we moved out to this area, and my husband was like, take a chill pill with the, just spreading yourself thin. And so now I'm coaching my son's youth track, which is probably the biggest challenge coaching wise. So it's kindergarten through 6th grade. And
that is
keeping all of them busy is fun. But then I still wanted to coach in a different way. So kind of starting to market myself as a personal running coach, and then bringing obviously the physical therapy into it, so that that the little things that come up in your training, they can just be quickly addressed, like by doing a virtual screen, or if they're in the area, just having them come in person and get them all tuned up. So I feel like it's bringing all the fun together in one place.
Honestly, I would say I felt really similarly to you with working with runners in the clinic when I worked in my more traditional setting. I was like, this is so hard, to get everything that we needed to get done in that time, and then also be able to educate them and get them out of their ways. And then once I did start my own practice where I can do the run coaching and the kind of bringing the PT in, it's so much easier, because I'm able to, say, let's do this many miles this week, and then check in a couple times a week, and so on and so forth. So I feel like it really is that more streamlined process that you kind of talked about a little bit.
And it really makes a big difference in the clinical setting. I mean, and they'll let you know right away, I've been to other physical therapy places, and my PT wasn't a runner, and it's a big difference. So you can spot treat their Achilles issue or something like that, and you can make it feel better, but then are they going to go out doing the same thing, or do they have a good plan leading up to their next race, or are you going to get them feeling better and they ramp it up too soon? All of that, you got to give them a good return to run plan of maybe you're just walk running for a little bit, and sometimes it's that it's not typically taught in physical therapy school of what to do, so it just helps to have that additional certification to help them out in that area.
I couldn't agree more. It's there's I don't know, there's just the small percent of it that is maybe their Achilles, and then there's this larger percent of, okay, I need to ramp up for the Eugene Marathon, and what's that going to look like, and if they have to go on their own, that's really hard. You said, how did you get into running? I think you said you ran in college, but what's your kind of running history?
So started out just athlete, just in general, soccer, basketball, volleyball, and then my siblings all got full ride scholarships for running, so I was like, well, that seems good. So I went on to college, kind of gave up basketball and all the other sports to just focus on running. Then through physical therapy school, kind of just focus on studying, but honestly, it made me literally insane. And a school counselor was like, Lauren, your homeostasis involves running, so you need to run to de-stress while you're studying. So I'm like, okay. So started training in 3rd year of physical therapy school for a full marathon. Never really tackled that distance before. Probably should have done it when I was fresh out of college, because it would have been easy while I was in great shape. But just kind of started back again, and I ended that marathon. Boston qualified, but I ended it with a walk running the last 4 or 5 miles in a stress in my foot. So I bring that experience into, guiding patients and coaching. And then from there, pretty much got pregnant. And so then I'm in the phase of like trying to build myself back up postpartum, and there's whole other issues that come along with that. So I can bring that in aspect into working with like the female runners and the core weakness that comes along with that, the adductor weakness that comes along postpartum. So that's like a big passion of mine as well. The incontinence that comes along with running, and that makes you very vulnerable in a group run. So just kind of bringing in all those experiences in. Currently about to do a half marathon that's really popular in Traverse City area of Michigan, so the Bayshore Marathon, half marathon. And then I qualified for Chicago, so I'm doing Chicago Marathon in fall. You're a hip doctor, but so I was dealing with, I just on and off deal with hip issues. I've had some imaging done. I know that it's got bilateral FAI in the hip, so hopefully going out with Chicago with a bang and just like doing like shorter distances from here on out. Really enjoy the 5K and working on that distance as well. I have the goal of like maybe getting back close to a college PR in the 5K. A little more doable in my busy life to train for a 5K than a marathon, but so that's currently where I'm at running.
That's so cool. The Chicago is such a fun race. It's really it's just fun to see the different parts of the city. And I also totally agree with, I think training for a 5K or even like a 10K is fun. It's easier, like time-wise, and you can really get those like times down, which is fun. Just like a different challenge, I think.
More gut-wrenching type of thing. But I'm out of the house for less time away from the kids and things like that. So it's good.
How would you say, I'll ask you this in two different ways. So how would you say your experiences of being a runner makes you a better run coach, and then your experience of being a PT makes you a better run coach?
Yeah, like I said, I've made like all the stupid decisions as a runner in the past. So when someone comes in, they're like, I got this pain. I'm like, oh, I've had that before. I know what to do. It's how I got through it. And then as a physical therapist, like I said, I really look at the big picture. So like if someone comes in with an ankle injury, like I'm looking at their pelvis and, all the way up to thoracic spine area, something like that going on. It really gets missed when you're treating the pain. So like a run coach that's out there without the physical therapy background might be like, oh, well, on Instagram I saw for Achilles tendonitis that you have to do these 3 exercises. So let's do those, which is a great start. But like I said, like you need to look at the big picture, know when to say we need to shut it down. Knowing the tissue healing process or a bone stress reaction healing process and how to ease them back into it. That's something that as a physical therapist you have where someone else might not have that specialty. So you could have like very precise guidance and say like, what did your doctor say, and know what the terminology means. Like, oh, okay, you have a medial meniscus tear. Do you have to have surgery? People go into panic when they hear tears or, fractures, like things like that. But knowing that, like, no, you have a meniscus tear or you have a labral tear, but there are ways we can strengthen out of this and you can continue your running career. This isn't the end of the world. Some other running coaches out there that, like, friends have had or something like that, they're just like, I don't know what to do, at that point. I don't know what to do. Like, we got to figure it out, or we got to shut it down until you have surgery, or like, we don't know the answer to that. But like, you and I like might know the answer to that right away and like calm them down, ease them up, and guide them in the medical area of things.
I love that. Yeah, I would say my favorite thing about being a PT and a run coach, um, or doing PT and run planning in my with my clients
Mhm.
is like if something is irritated or if something is flared up or they do have that diagnosis of a labral tear or meniscus tear or whatnot, we can potentially keep them running like throughout the duration of that injury, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to stop, at that time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um, Sorry, what were you gonna say?
or just like knowing like from my experience, I guess I became a PT and had that goal of being a running physical therapist because I was injured as an athlete in college. So there was 2 winter seasons where I was just out for the whole winter, and then going into spring track, um, I was actually like just as fast as my teammates were without running all winter. And, that doesn't really make sense to people that you can get better at running by not running,
Yeah,
every day. So
yeah,
that's the biggest part is when someone comes in to see you, they're like, especially the run streakers, like they're like, I can't take a day off or I won't,
yeah,
or I can't take a week off. But then I bring in the research. I'm like, actually, you can take a week off and you're really not going to lose any of your fitness. There's certain points in where you will start to lose your fitness, but it's very like based on that individual. But it takes time to lose all that hard work that you put in. And if you're
yeah,
supplementing with, like, I lived on the bike through those injuries, I lived on the Stairmaster all throughout college,
yeah,
to the point where it's like I see a bike trainer and I want to like puke from the
yeah,
PTSD from like being on that so much. But it really, that and doing more strength and core focus because I was injured, I was like more efficient maybe than teammates, like this, like what I've theorized over the years,
yeah,
where like that made me like a just as fast of a runner come spring after not running for 3 months.
yeah.
So just I'm a psychology major as well in
Oh,
undergrad, so I really like go into that part of the healing because stress can cause inflammation, right? So
yeah,
you got to kind of calm that person down first, and then things will heal better,
yeah,
or they'll trust the process a little bit more too.
yeah, yeah. There's so many different facets, and it's I think that's just another benefit of like, I'm not just here saying, okay, I think, this is what your effort should be. And then this is what your, basically these are what the runs are. It's
Mhm.
like, I can use my tissue healing brain. I can use my like regional interdependence brain, which is what you've been talking about of like, oh, your thoracic spine is stiff. That's why your hip is hurting you. So on and so forth. So there's so many different ways that we can like attack the problem,
Mhm.
for each person that we just have more tools, which is it's really fun to have those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, why do you think people should get a run coach? Like if they want to have a goal, or if they're running a race, or why is getting a run coach helpful?
I think it's helpful because like I've honestly used a book that told you what to do, but it's the individual. It's their history of injury. It's their lifestyle. Like
Yeah,
um, I'm a PT on my feet all day, so I cannot run 6 days a week. I
yeah,
learned that the hard way. So setting them up with a plan, knowing like, okay, you're a factory worker on your feet all day, like
yeah,
I'm gonna like kind of force you into like learning some other cardiovascular options out there to supplement, or else this may lead to injury.
yeah,
The program that I use like literally has like a dial on there for their intensity that they have met for the week, and it's been so touchy when I was coaching someone to the point where I just added in like yoga and maybe like 10 minutes longer on a tempo, and it like put them into the red zone. And you're like, really? Yoga puts you into the red zone for the week?
yes,
But it was yeah, it shows you that the little things like, okay, you're in walking around an amusement park all day 3 weeks before your marathon, or you're traveling, all those little like things that can come up in life,
yeah,
or like they can it's work. You know,
Yeah.
even though you're just like, well, I'm not running, so it's not work. It is. So you might be like, okay, you are traveling this week, so I'm really going to dial it back because I know you're going to be walking and lifting a lot more and just have different activities. So if you're following a plan in a book or on the internet, you might just be like hammering it out, and then your tissue is eventually going to give in at some point. So been there, done that.
Yeah.
And
Same.
yeah, it doesn't really work. I think too, a lot of the coaches out there are great at stressing the importance of a strength routine
Yeah.
to supplement the running. Whereas if you Google a running plan, it's only the running.
Yeah.
Or you just feel lost when it comes to strengthening. There's
Yeah.
so many videos out
Yeah.
there and info.
Yeah.
This for runners, that for runners. So you wind up doing nothing because you don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
So if you're assigned exactly what you're going to do that week, that's good to follow along with. If you're sent videos of how to do it, or a video chat of if your form is good or not, that just like all helps. Yeah, so mainly those reasons, and then you basically have a built-in nutrition coach as well. I think most of us that are running coach certified, we have a good nutrition knowledge or how to fuel properly for their race or during their long runs, how to hydrate properly. All those questions can be asked, so you're not like wasting all the time on Google, or if you ask your local running group chat, you're going to get a million answers, and it's not necessarily what works for you.
Yeah.
Nothing's cookie cutter. So it like helps to individualize and track your progress each week and get some specific data on there, like maybe your cadence or your VO2 max, or like if you do a timed 2-mile to set your VDOT paces, all of that, like it's super helpful to, again, like individualize.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of maybe the biggest like inhibitors or barriers into getting a run coach is potentially cost, or even like time cost of like having to set up time to talk to the run coach. But I think in the long run, like if running is something that's, important to you, or that's like something that helps you, that you want to get into and accomplish goals, I think you'll be able to do more in the long term if you put that initial investment forward, and get that coaching and really that individualized training plan, so you can hit your goal and not peter out really fast. And
if you put it into like medical billing terminology, like if you have a SMART plan, then you're avoiding things like MRIs, X-rays, physical therapy, doctor's visits, injections. You're avoiding all of that if you stay ahead of the pain and you have that good plan set in place. Or maybe you can work through things with your coach, and you don't have to go to a doctor's visit to get an answer with that. But I think that's been the biggest barrier so far, is like the financial commitment to it. But like I said, then you're potentially avoiding some other big costs. I've made just like one-time plans for people, or one-time strength programs, and sent those to them if they don't want to commit to like a monthly check-in. So just like offering various options as well has helped.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else that you're like, I really feel passionate about this in running, or anything else that's kind of come to your mind today that you want to share with people that are runners?
Like I said, I just like the full body approach. So doing the full assessment and really figuring out where their weaknesses are and focusing on those weaknesses to get them better. It's something as annoying as like, oh, you have to do toe yoga after you roll out your foot, and they're like, why is this gonna make my hip issue better? And it's like, you have to stand on one leg and learn how to balance before you can run, because running is just consistent single leg balance. That's like, seems tedious, seems annoying, but like if you really drive home the importance of the small stuff, and they just can implement those small little things before a run, then like I said, then they don't have to worry about all this other treatment if they have some good individualized focus for them. Yeah, so I'm just in general just really heavy if anyone's like local and I'm able to see them. I really heavy on like the manual therapy as well. So you could follow along on, like I said, all those strength videos and workouts, but like if you have a pelvic imbalance or limited hip internal rotation and you need a mobilization, or you're lacking dorsiflexion and that's affecting your mechanics, just really big on like doing that, because they might not get that at other physical therapy locations. So yeah, that's why our company is great for having a ton of education available to us. So we take courses like crazy, and it really gives you that confidence that you, as soon as you see something, you know how to fix it. You're not just like doing soft tissue work and hoping it gets better.
Yeah.
So it really helps to have that knowledge.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am a manual therapist as well, so I love doing that. I think the final thing I would say is similar to what you said. If you go to a PT office and you're like, just don't feel like you're getting the help that you want, you can ask and say like, is there anyone here that like loves to work with runners? Like I've shifted patients to my colleagues' schedules, like so on and so forth, just to better meet their needs.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. I think it's great when they, like I said, when they spread the word, and everybody's got a running Facebook group.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to be, Dr. Google or Dr. Facebook out there in the running group. But it's nice when you can spread the word, because then they're not. I just don't like hearing as physical therapy as a career saying like, don't go to PT. Like people sending their friends to that. Don't go to PT because it doesn't work. Like that is my passion, I guess you could say, is like changing the knowledge of what physical therapy is, how it can help, and letting people know that go find someone that specializes, and maybe that's why physical therapy didn't work for you in the past. It's really important to look out there. It's the same thing, like if someone's asking you for what surgeon or what doctor would you see, a family member, it's like, oh, like you don't say like, oh, just go anywhere. You're going to know that like that person to go to that has a history or does research in that area. So yeah, I just really want to change that mindset that don't waste your time with PT, like, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. My last question for you is, where can we get more of you? Like, what's the best way to reach out to you if we want to be a run coach client or work with you in person?
Yeah, I guess just follow me on Instagram. And I'm pretty good at replying to messages. And then I typically send out an email for just like all these preliminary questions of like getting to know you, getting to know your running history, your injury history, and then going from there, just seeing if we're like a good match, and see if I'm the right person to meet their goals for them. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and just taking your time. It was awesome to learn from you.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye, Lauren.
Bye.